When you get the clients to strengthen their back muscles, like if I was to squat and just reach out in my hands or hold that position, can you see how I'm kind of holding that extended position here? That whole posterior chain muscles are working. You go give someone a push-up and they said, I don't know what's going on now. I couldn't even do 3 and now I'm already on 12. And the reason for that is the electrical lines are flowing again. And you were talking about pushing up, and that's right, but almost that the back is lifting you up makes the push-up so much easier. Once you feel that activation of the back, it's like you're almost being pulled up by this charge that's going through the rectus spinator of the back muscles. So like now they've sort of postured. I just hold them a little. If you've done yoga as well, you're just holding arms out, or you can see how kind of extended I am, but I can feel all those big muscles just isometrically working. So we're not moving, we're just holding that posture.
Yeah, that's chair pose.
Such a great little easy, simple exercise to charge that posterior chain.
Now, can I ask you a question? If you were to do that posture, the one that you just did, if you put a block between your legs, so now you're activating that whole midline, and then with the upper body, you could either hold a block there. So what's the difference if I were holding a block pushing versus having my hands in a strap and pulling out?
Pulling out, you're going to go straight into lats, traps, rhomboids. You're going to be working waist muscles. And it's a very great point you bring here. When you narrow with the feet hip width apart and everything's narrow and you're doing that chair, thank you, you're working with sagittal planes, so you get a lot of lower abs and it's fantastic. But the other thing which you really want to get into is the waist muscles, the obliques. This is a huge stabilizer for, which we're going to get into just now, all the functional movements, pushing and pulling. So when you do the same exercise with the feet wider, I get a lot more internal, external obliques. But when I go narrow, like if I'm keep my hips very narrow and I do that, I can feel a lot more abs.
We're activating so much together. We're getting a lot of communication.
Correct. In the narrow, you're going to get a lot more buttocks, and in the wider, you're going to get a lot more hamstrings. But when you stand wider apart with the knees, straight away, there's obliques stabilize you. When you stand narrow, you get much more buttocks and hamstrings. So it depends on what you want to train.
So now if we're upper body and we're pushing in on a block, you're not holding it, but you're pushing your hands in. So you're saying, what muscles are we using there?
The pecs and the anterior shoulder deltoids. Biceps will be also coming in there as well. So I would be probably more inclined to get clients to pull out with that one to get the back muscles. Are you doing that with a cable, like a light little TheraBand or something?
Oh, I've never done that. Cable meaning pulling?
You were saying like opening the hands up like this. Yep.
You know what's really interesting? So the block is the front body. The strap goes into the back body.
Correct. That's the secret. Yeah. They have the strap around the biceps, because when they have the straps in the front, it's a lot of strain on the neck. So especially women have had neck injuries or shoulder problems, like shorten the lever basically. Get them to soften their knees as well, because some women stand with their legs straight. You always want to have knees soft. When the knees are soft, it brings on the whole chain. If the knees are locked, you bring on the bones, which is good for osteoporosis. In terms of functional strengthening, you want to activate the muscles through the body.
Okay, so 2 secrets. The 2 secrets we just gave.
So the one was was the softening of the knees, and what was the other secret? Oh, the front. The front would be when you squeeze in the block in the front would be strengthening the core in the front, and then if you open the straps, you're going to be strengthening the back muscles.
When we're stretching hamstrings or adductors, if you keep the knee straight, then you're actually going to be on the origin of the muscle. So we're actually pulling on the bones.
So let's get to the arms. The first thing I said to you, is your power is from the core going up to the chest. Now, how do you strengthen the chest and the biceps at the same time? Well, push-ups is the go-to on that, but like we said, most women struggle with that. It's just simple isometric holds. I've got like a 5-pound weight here, and just holding it in this position, I feel the whole pec and the bicep and the shoulder. I work with quite a few ladies who got a really bad osteoporosis in their forearms, so this is very simple. When you're holding a weight like I'm doing here, you must move around. You never want to stand still. Even just moving around sideways like this, I know most people would be like, what are you talking about, pecs? But that is what the pec does. It's a huge stabilizer.
Your elbow was right underneath your shoulder. Does that alignment matter when you're holding the 5-pound weight like that?
Correct. Anytime the shoulder is chicken winged, when I talk about chicken winging, then it disconnects the core. So when you're close like this and even punching or doing anything like that, that keeps this muscles engaged. It keeps that connection to the core.
Yeah, so it's very stabilizing. It also keeps the humerus head, the upper arm bone, in the shoulder socket where it should be. So then you allow those rotator cuffs to not pull.
Correct. You allow the prime movers to do their job and the stabilizers to do their job. Exactly what you just described.
And when women think they need to weight bear and they go to the gym, we think of all the big muscles that are movers. But what about the stability? And you're really bringing up the stability, the activation for safety, for lubricating the tissue, whether it's fluid fluid so that the joints move better, or the muscles with the moisture and the blood that they need, and to transmit the electrical or the energetic potential throughout the body.
100%. It's just getting ladies to really be dialed into their body, that body awareness of upper body as well. Then you've got the shoulder press exercise. And what's really important here is you never want to be out to the side. You never want to be in line with your head. You want to be slightly forwards, if you can see. So they would be back here. You want to look up and rotate the body. You see my body rotates. What a lot of women do is just this. We call this robotic shoulder press. It's very much just up and down. It's going to really hurt the shoulder and it's not functional. By doing the rotation and looking up and getting the chest, you get all those scapular muscles like you talked about, stabilizers. So that's the other thing with the upper body. Whatever you're doing, you've got to use the whole body.
Okay, super important.
And it's, by the way, when you hold here, you get middle rhomboids and lower traps, which every PT around the world will say, please get them to activate lower traps. This is, again, one of the secrets. If you hold that like that, you get straight into there. You can't really feel it, but it's activated. It works together with the pec. So the pec and the lower trap work together. If you don't have the pec, you don't have the lower trap. It's all communication. So, and again, it builds into the plank again, because there's your plank positions. By just training these arm, like you said, you're able to build that strength safely. The loading on the bone, especially on the forearm, where the osteoporosis comes in, that's super, super effective. Very functional, carrying a box, carrying anything else.
So walking around your house with a 5-pound weight, moving around and doing things. So that was one thing. The next thing you talked about was that shoulder press. And we're going into back muscles, which are posture muscles. Posture is critical for bone health and healthy and happy aging. So now you had that, and you required the looking up, because that's going to actually add a little bit of extension and turn on the back muscles. And then I don't know if you remember this from our last conversation, but I talked about 3 scoops of ice cream.
Yes. I love your analogies.
The cone was the bottom body. The first scoop is the pelvis. The second scoop is the rib cage. Third scoop is the head. So when you're looking up, putting that weight back with your head, you're turning on all those extensor muscles in the upper back.
Absolutely.
So you have us doing shoulder presses up and with a rotation. So it's up and slightly rotated.
Think about like a victory punch. You know what I mean? Like if you didn't have Carl Reader telling you, you do it naturally. And it's not a Carl Reader technique. If I look at my daughter and she wins something, she just goes like this, and I'm like, there you go. It just happens automatically. You extend, you rotate, and you punch up. That is one of the biggest reasons why people have shoulder issues. It's one of my number one go-to when I work with women, especially go to gym. I'm like, tell me what you do with your shoulders, and everything is stacked solid, and it's just up and down. And I'm like, whoa, hang on. Like, I do have rotator cuff problems. I'm like, okay, I can see why. Let's dial it back a bit. You said it so nice. By getting back like that, you activate those muscles. Something that becomes a little bit more advanced in that is to strengthen the back muscles. Even just lifting up a weight up above your head. Can you see how I've got a 5-pound here? Perfect opportunity to really get into those mid. Because when you were saying just now, like about that slouchy posture, we always think about what happens around at the neck level, which is that you have to. But where the real damage is done is around the lower thoracic spine. That's actually where we get weak. We always want to think about here because we always feel neck problems. But where we're getting into the neural components is actually lower down. And again, how many people are lifting a box or something up over their heads, like you said, with the whole convenience thing? Not many. I lift up my little girl and again, I'm like, wow, this is a great exercise, because it's something we just don't do, like you said.
And you know, Carl, a lot of these ladies have grandchildren, and one of the motivating factors for people to take control of their bone health or their aging, one of the things is we have grandchildren, and you want to be able to play with them and to do those things. And they're not light. They are way more than a 5-pound weight. Maybe first born and you wouldn't be moving them that quickly. If you enjoyed this clip from Stronger Bones Lifestyle, be sure to check out the next video or dive into the full podcast episode. Before you go, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.